Did you know that the Moon is actually a giant space rock that's been orbiting Earth for just 60 million years? And if we dig deep enough, we'll uncover the catastrophic event that knocked a huge chunk of material off our planet and formed our trusty lunar companion in a process known as the giant impact hypothesis. But have you ever wondered what this collision looked like? Imagine you're driving a car at 10 miles per hour on a clear day, but suddenly someone slams into your vehicle from behind going over 60 miles an hour. That's roughly the speed and force that hit our planet when a massive object called Theia collided with Earth in a cosmic crash that was so violent, it caused our very own planet to shake apart. The debris left over from this catastrophic event eventually coalesced into a large mass, which would later become our Moon, now orbiting around the only home we know as Earth at an incredible distance of approximately 239,000 miles. But what exactly triggered this massive collision that led to the formation of our lunar companion? To understand it, let's go back in time and explore a parallel universe where a similar catastrophic event occurred just a few billion years ago on another planet called Nibiru. Imagine Nibiru as a giant car crash test dummy, but instead of being made of metal, it's composed of rocky debris hurtling through space. This planet was struck by an object so massive that its impact sent shockwaves rippling across the solar system, creating chaos and destruction on a cosmic scale. As we examine the remnants of this collision, we start to notice something peculiar: the pieces don't seem to be fitting together quite right. They're not like the neatly stacked building blocks of Lego bricks but rather resemble a puzzle with a few critical pieces missing. What's even more intriguing is that these scattered remains seem to be drifting away from Nibiru, carrying with them fragments of its original composition. It's as if the very fabric of this planet has been torn apart, leaving behind an empty shell of what once was. But wait a minute, let's take a step back and revisit our assumptions about Nibiru. What if I told you that the debris we're seeing might not be from Nibiru at all? That it could actually be remnants from a much closer, more familiar celestial body? You see, this idea challenges everything we thought we knew about the Moon's formation. Imagine you have a giant cosmic game of pool, and instead of balls, you're dealing with massive planetary bodies. In this scenario, Earth is not the stationary ball that it seems to be. In fact, it's been moving around Nibiru for eons, like a cue ball taking shots at other planets. And what happens when two celestial bodies collide? They can break apart, sending fragments flying off into space. Now, let's imagine one of those fragments sticking together with the Earth, forming something entirely new, our Moon. This theory is so mind-blowing because it flips our understanding of history on its head. We no longer see the Moon as a static body formed in place, but rather as an integral part of our planet's dynamic past. But here's the question that leaves me speechless: what else have we been wrong about when it comes to our universe? One of the most mind-blowing implications of this new understanding is that the Moon was not formed from debris left over after a massive collision between Earth and another planet, but rather as the result of a gradual process called giant impact hypothesis. Essentially, a Mars-sized object collided with our young Earth, causing massive destruction and ejecting debris into space, which eventually coalesced to form our satellite. But here's where it gets really crazy. Scientists estimate that this collision occurred around 4.5 billion years ago, and the Moon is thought to have formed in just a few weeks. That's faster than you can say, lunar eclipse. To put it into perspective, if you were alive at the time of this cataclysmic event, you would have seen the Earth change beyond recognition in the span of about 20 days. Can you imagine witnessing such an apocalyptic transformation? The thought sends shivers down my spine. It's mind-boggling to think that a single catastrophe had such a profound impact on our solar system. The massive collision is believed to have caused debris from both the Earth and the Mars-sized object, known as Theia, to be flung into space. But wait, are you thinking what I'm thinking? What if this catastrophic event wasn't just some random cosmic crash? What if it was actually a crucial step in creating our beloved Moon? Let's dive deeper and explore the fascinating theory behind the Moon's origin. This idea suggests that a Mars-sized object collided with Earth, causing debris to be thrown into orbit, eventually forming the Moon. But here's the catch: this massive object wasn't just any ordinary space rock. It was a celestial body with its own gravity and momentum, capable of rearranging our planet's very fabric. Imagine a cosmic freight train barreling through our solar system, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. The impact would have been so immense that it would have vaporized everything in its path, sending massive chunks of rock flying into space. These fragments wouldn't have fallen back to Earth like meteorites, no, they'd have kept going, hurtling off into the unknown, until their paths finally intersected with our atmosphere. And here's where things get really interesting. Some of these pieces would have been caught in Earth's gravity, forming a massive ring system around our planet. This disk of debris would have slowly begun to coalesce, eventually giving birth to the moon we know and love today. But why did this collision happen in the first place? Was it a chance encounter between two celestial bodies, or was there something more at play here? The truth is, scientists still aren't entirely sure. But what they do know is that this cataclysmic event marked the beginning of our moon's very existence. And it's mind-boggling to think about, but this collision between Earth and Theia is believed to have been so massive that it not only created our moon, but also had a profound impact on our own planet. Imagine taking a giant hammer to the surface of Earth. That's basically what happened here. The debris from the collision went into orbit around our planet, eventually coalescing into the moon we see today. But here's the really cool part, the moon is actually made up of a lot of the same material as Earth. In fact, it's estimated that about 25% of the moon is actually composed of the Earth's own crust and mantle. So in a way, you could say that the moon is essentially a piece of our own planet that was ripped off during this violent collision. This idea might seem a bit strange at first. After all, we tend to think of the moon as a separate entity, orbiting around our planet like a loyal companion. But if you look closely at the moon's composition, you'll notice that it has a similar mix of elements found on Earth, including iron and oxygen. This suggests that the moon was actually ripped from the Earth itself during this massive collision. Now, let's fast forward to the moment of the collision. Imagine two cars crashing into each other at high speed. The crumpled metal and shattered glass are a result of the intense force and energy released in the impact. Similarly, when Earth and Theia collided over 4 billion years ago, their combined energy was so immense that it ripped apart a large chunk of our planet's mantle and crust. This ejected material would eventually coalesce into the moon we know today. But what about its size and shape? Well, scientists have discovered that the moon is actually smaller than Earth because some of its mass was lost during the collision. Think of it like a chunk of cookie dough being pulled apart by two giant hands. The resulting piece might be smaller and irregularly shaped. The impact also had another profound effect on our planet's evolution. The energy released from the collision caused massive earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanic eruptions that reshaped Earth's surface forever. And if you think about it, this primordial violence is still etched into our planet's geology today. In the form of mountains, canyons, and fault lines that tell the story of a violent past. But what about the moon? You might be wondering how our lunar companion came to be. Well, scientists have several theories on how it formed, but one of them is quite compelling. They call it the giant impact hypothesis. It suggests that a massive object, sometimes referred to as Theia, collided with Earth in the distant past. This cataclysmic event was so powerful that it caused debris from both bodies to be ejected into space and eventually coalesce around our planet, forming the moon we know today. According to this theory, Theia was a Mars-sized object that originated from the same region of the solar system as Earth, and its collision with our planet would have been catastrophic, causing massive destruction and throwing debris into orbit, which eventually clumped together to form the moon's mass. But here's the thing, this theory isn't just some wild speculation, it's based on some pretty solid evidence. For one, scientists have found that the moon has a similar chemical makeup to Earth's crust, suggesting they share a common origin. They've also discovered that the moon's composition is not as uniform as you'd expect from an object formed in orbit around the sun. It's almost as if it was created from fragments of a larger body. If you're fascinated by the mysteries of the universe and want to stay on top of the latest discoveries, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. Coming up next, the truth about black holes.